Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday Tier Talk. We're going to be following the action in the Europa League, giving you updates on that throughout the night as well. We'll be bringing you a Premier League preview. We'll be looking back at the Champions League and permutations. We'll be talking about all the latest transfer news and, of course, Beat the Bookie. Joining me, as always, my co-host, the Dazzler. How are we?
All good, Brother Bear. All good. Europa League update. Changes for Man United. Malacia gone off for Garnacho. And Toby Collier gone off for Ahmad. So it looks like Ahmad is going wing back on one side, Dallo on the other, and then probably Garnacho will go up alongside Fernandez behind Højlund. So changes afoot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well needed as well. Goals needed tonight, isn't it? It's a bit sparse, as they say, at the moment.
We should probably be up at this
Joanne's
stage.
in the chat, big up.
We've had enough chances to be up, you know.
Yep, Joanne's in the chat, big up Joanne. Morris is in there as well. How we doing, Morris? Good to see you. I've got the second half of United match on. Yeah, absolutely. I think we all do.
Yeah, same as me.
No one wants to watch Spurs. What was the first half like?
Oh, we've just hit the post. Garnacho on the field, a minute and a half.
Just saying it there, yeah.
And we've just hit the post. It's good work from Rasmus Højlund to run down. No, it's not actually. It's just a bad back pass. And Garnacho gets onto it. And he strikes the outside of the post. Should hit the target. Beats the keeper. And just hits the base of the post on the way past. A little bit unfortunate. But it's a big enough chance that, again, if you don't take those sort of chances, they generally come back to bite you on the bumhole.
Do me a favour. Just check your headset there, will you? You sound like you're talking into the actual iPad instead of the... Doesn't sound like it's connected.
Let me have a look.
Just double check it there, just in case I'm wrong.
Any better?
There we go. That's more like it. That's more.
It was the little connection-y job. You know, I have to use the linky bit, adapter thing. Sometimes.
I could hear you, but it was a little bit delayed because it was traveling towards the iPad, you know, rather than coming out of your mic. There we go. All good now. Yeah, it's an interesting corner here for United. Anyway, we'll stay with the corner. I don't know if it's been taken yet on your end.
It hasn't. No, they've just won the corner. It's good work from Diallo, actually. Goes straight past the left back. First touch isn't amazing, and it goes a little bit further than you would have wanted, but he gets onto it to get the ball into the box, and obviously Stoya managed to block it, and it's now a United corner. So it's Diallo standing over. Sounds like we've gone pretty close there by the gasp.
Massive flap by the keeper.
Oh man, he's given a free out, hasn't he? Though? He's given a free out. It looks like there's.
Well.
But I definitely think we're knocking at the door at this stage, aren't we? We should have been up going into half time. It's a big enough chance Mainu misses early on. You know, 12 yards out. You'd expect him to at least hit the target. I'm pretty happy with how they're playing. Just need to start taking chances here.
Yeah, the first half seemed to be a little bit kind of apprehensive, I would say. A lot of runs being made, but players not picking up on the runs and playing the balls through. I think Højlund was kind of like made a number of runs first half. So did Mainu as well, and they just weren't picked up on. But other than that, I think it's more. You can see the gap in the quality, but again at 0-0, always a dangerous time to be. You know.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look back while we're watching that. Let's take a look back. Champions League last night. Liverpool, although they lost, still kept top position. Still gained that 275 grand for that extra position. 280 grand or whatever it was. But interesting, like finishing so high up in the table and being seeded and all, you would expect to like get an okay kind of draw, you know, a reasonably easy draw. If you look at Liverpool at the moment, we'll go down through all 4 teams plus Celtic, I suppose. If you look at Liverpool are looking down the barrel at PSG, Benfica, Monaco, or Brest. PSG obviously would be the big one. Obviously, I think the other three, I think there wouldn't be a problem really there. And especially the one thing we do get, I think, as a seeded qualifiers, you play your second leg at home.
Yes.
All the way now, or whatever it is. So
which, you know, by right, that should be our Brucey for getting top 8, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get your bounce into the next round, you go through the knockouts, and then you get this home tie in the second. So I think that's, you know, I think we're really going to see the best of this competition from now onwards when it goes to being that kind of knockout competition that we like and we really get excited about, you know?
Yeah. I think Dino said it in our WhatsApp group last night. I thought last night was exciting still. The way the table was moving and changing and twisting, and like one stage City were going out and then they were back in, and then, you know, so it was kind of cool and stuff like that.
Do we think the 8 games is a bit of a stretch?
It probably is, but I presume it's dictated by the volume of teams that are in there, isn't it? And to be honest,
possibly, but what it also could be dictated by is how close the table could be after 6 games. That you need those added games to have variation where enough teams play each other and people drop points here and there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the logical view for UEFA as well is they're probably just going to expand it over time anyway, aren't they? It's because, like, I
don't know if they could go much bigger.
Maybe.
Like, especially if you want to hold up the level of quality, because like, while there's some terrific teams in there, and we're going to end up with some cracking knockout games, there is a small portion of, you know, teams just being put in to make up the numbers. And that's not what you want from an elite, you know, competition in world football. That's not what you want.
I suppose if you look at who went out, there wasn't any major surprise in it. I suppose the big ones were probably RB Leipzig and Girona. I would have thought. I didn't think there was a whole lot else in it, really, you know. I probably expected more from Leipzig, who were really poor this campaign. And also Girona, who like are coming in off the back of a really good La Liga season and qualifying for the Champions League.
Yeah, I think the thing with Girona is obviously there was a little bit of a fire sale, so to speak. They lost quite a number of players, moved on to bigger and better things. You look last night, Manchester City were in a little bit of trouble. Looked to the bench to bring on ex-Girona player Savinho, and he made a huge difference when he came on. So I think it's great for teams to make that stage of the competition, but I also think it's really, really important if they want to be a viable option for the next round. They got to keep hold of that quality. Unlucky there.
And that's why later on we're going to be talking about the situation at Aston Villa.
Absolutely.
Crazy at the moment, you know. Arsenal going through as well. Milan, PSV, Feyenoord, or Juventus for them. Again, interesting enough. Aston Villa get Atalanta, Borussia Dortmund, Sporting, or Club Brugge. Tough enough for Villa.
I actually don't think Villa will look at any of them and think we can't beat them over 2 legs. And don't forget, when we talk about knockout competition, there is nobody, and I mean nobody, who has done knockout competition as well as Unai Emery over the last, 10 plus years. So,
yeah. But you're looking at an Aston Villa side there that have just sent Duran basically to Saudi Arabia. And we know that they've struggled from a squad point of view because when they come back into the Prem, there's been a little bit of a drop-off and stuff. And you're looking at Atalanta as well, who are a very good side.
They're Europa League winners, aren't they, last season?
Yeah.
Really turned it on in the final against Leverkusen when we all fancied Leverkusen. The Atalanta are a good team, but I still believe Emery and Villa will believe they can beat any of those teams over 2 legs, you know?
Yeah, potentially. Celtic for all their brilliant play this season in the Champions League get rewarded with, I think it's either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. And I think City are in the same boat pending this draw tomorrow at 11, which is going to be quality. So what it means then after that for Celtic then are staring down the barrel of it.
There is no after for Celtic.
Well, if there was,
unfortunately, you know, and as well as they've done, because let's be honest, I'm absolutely happy enough to hold up my hand and say that I didn't expect Celtic to go as far as they did, to make it to the knockout stages, let alone, you know what I mean? So I think that's phenomenal from Celtic. And I think obviously with the money that they've been able to put in the bank and stuff like that, and obviously with the sale of Kyogo, they've been able to bring in the boy Jota. They're looking at obviously Kieran Tierney coming back into the building, and there'll probably be another one or two maybe before the end of the window.
Yeah, and obviously Casper as well, who went back in. He's been good for them as well. And excellent. Then you have then if they happen to get through that, then you're looking at Atletico or Bayer Leverkusen. So it's a real tough path, and the same for City. So it's going to be tough for both teams. It's going to be interesting.
I don't fancy City at all at the minute, at all. Even though they have sort of come back into form, so to speak, in the league and picked up victories and stuff like that, I still don't like the
signed players.
They have. There's a lot to listen. We know the boy Marmouche is a super player. I think the other two boys, obviously, we see with Kushyanov, there's a certain level of ability there, and he's got to be a very good player. But it might take a little bit of time to bed in and stuff like that. And I imagine it's going to be the same with the Brazilian lad as well. I think that will probably have a bedding in period, so you may not see as much game time, or you may not see the level of player. I think these are guys that are being brought in now with a view to being first team players from August onwards. You know,
I don't know if you've seen one that's gone up onto the it's a documentary up there, How to Win the Champions League. I mentioned it in our WhatsApp group today. The first episode is Real Madrid, and it's just Khedira and all is on it. All the boys get interviewed and all. You want to see Paul Clement, I think, is on it as well, the assistant coach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You want to see the mentality in there. They were talking about when they won it. I think when they won it against us, it might have been us or slightly earlier. Contrail and all was playing for them at the time. And he said when they went back into the dressing room, obviously the suits were covered in champagne and everything, the usual, place just erupted. They said in the corner, there was either five Portuguese players huddled in a corner having a conversation. And I think it might have been Carlo, I'm not too sure, either Carlo or Zidane, sent Clement over to ask him what were they talking about. And when he went over and tapped him on the shoulder, said, lads, what are you talking about? The five lads were talking about how they go and win it again next year. Now, this is in the locker room after just winning it, champagne going everywhere, suits getting destroyed, and the five Portuguese lads are in the corner chatting about, let's go do this next year. How do we do it?
How do we get over the line again?
Yeah, isn't that like just elite mentality, like to be able to
absolutely
do that? And that's why I said in our group today, it's Real Madrid and really everyone else. Like it's just phenomenal.
When we think of the level of quality that's been in the competition, even from its inception way back when it was only the league winners, you know, to when it became the top fours and stuff like that. And the top four does open the door, because don't forget, if you finish second in the league this season, you may be a better team next season, which we've seen happen before. And all of a sudden you get that bounce. You're playing a team that's even better than they were last season. So for them to pick up, are we on 13 now or what are we on?
15.
Like, it's just
insane.
It's next level altogether. It really is. And especially when you think of how many, you know, good sized clubs have never won one. Like, there are teams that like to call themselves big football teams, big clubs. They've never won a Champions League. If you haven't won a Champions League, in my eyes, you're not a big club. Oh, we've hit the crossbar.
They were talking as well about they were talking as well. Didn't hit the crossbar with that one.
Hang on. Hold on, Brody. We're on the way. Ball. Yeah, Kobe Mainu cuts it across. Diogo Dallo at the back. Stick. Baby! And this is why you have your wing backs, one crossing to the other.
And they were talking about Perez. Perez met with one of the chief scouts, and this is after a number of years they hadn't won it. I think they had a gap of something like 10 or 11 years where they didn't win it. And Perez brought in the chief scout, and he says, I want you to go out and sign me 5 players who will win me the Champions League. Mad mentality, but awesome to see. Right, Premier League preview. Let's get into this. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know. We won't preempt beat the book here at like that, but tough fixtures this week to call and pick out to find good.
How many weeks have we said this in a row? Either the fixtures are really tough and you can't pick it, or you pick what you want and the odds are dire.
Yeah.
I've done 3 bets and I've actually done okay odds-wise. I've done okay.
Yeah. I done 2 and I did okay on the odds, but like it's so ropey these matches this week. Like
So 100%.
We'll start with Saturday then. Forest and Brighton, both teams with a bit of fixing up to do this week.
Yeah, absolutely. After last week, definitely need a performance from Forest. I don't think any of us would have imagined they were going to go to Bournemouth and get absolutely pumped in the manner that they did. I for one couldn't believe it. I thought it'd be a very close game. I did think it'd be a couple of goals, but I didn't see that. So huge shock for me. Brighton can have those games though. Brighton have been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde this season. They go from a good performance to a bit of a stiff, and then they go from a good performance to a bit of a stiff, and it's kind of dripped and drabbed. And obviously, if you're looking at what's going on in the transfer window at the minute, there could be a lot of upheaval at Brighton in the last few days.
Big wedge.
I mean, just to talk about it before we talk about it, like, we're huge fans of this kid, right? And we have been for 18 months maybe, and it's been Mitoma, and we've mentioned them week after week. Like, for them to turn down 65 mil is huge. But for the other boys to talk about coming back in at 90 is just it's unfathomable. It really is.
Tony Bloom sitting in the board office with a big set of nads on him going, I'm going to play these guys like a poker game.
I know it's a completely different era, but I saw something on a group chat earlier on, and there is loads of comparisons you could make. That's a great ball, and it is. If this transfer goes ahead, one of the lads said, "How will I ever look somebody in the face and tell them that Kiara Matoma went for more money than Zinedine Zidane?" You know, now obviously, financially we're in a completely different era, and everybody gets.
But it doesn't even level up. Like it doesn't even level up.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah, no,
is that in?
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
Oh, wow. Very, very close there from Stoya. They've hit the underside of the bar. It pops down, looks like it hits the line, comes back up, and it lands to the head of the striker, who's plumb in front of goal, and tries to put it into the corner away from Altoy and heads it wide of the goal. But it's a great strike, but 25 yards out on the break. He absolutely lets one fly, and it hits the underside.
He was slightly off as well, wasn't he?
He might be off with the second one, but the first one he's not. And I tell you what, second one's off. He shouldn't miss it either way. But we've got away with it with the crossbar down and out. There's a little bit of luck there, you know.
Absolutely. Now you're on the break here. Stay with it. Poor unlucky. Yeah, so what are you going for? Forest Brighton. Flip me on this one.
I think Nuno will get the reaction kind of better than Herzler will. And I think it'll just be 2-1 to Forest.
Yeah, there's a lot, as you said, Matoma there as well. Also,
Matoma, you've Evan Ferguson. Yeah, that's right. Like, you could be looking at Brighton having 120, 140 million come Saturday evening, but the window closes on Monday. What do? Do you just say we sit in our hands until the summer?
They 100% sit in their hands.
I think so. I think that's you know.
Tony Bloom just brings in the cash counters, and it's like a saying from Breaking Bad. He's just counting dollars.
And you maybe bring the likes of an Enciso back from the loan at Ipswich, or a Sarmiento or something like that, and just get them back in the door. Buonanotte also at Leicester, you could bring him back in and just fill the gaps with what you have. And then come the summer, you give Fabian Herzler a war chest to go out and improve. That's a great ball from Garnacho. That's really unlucky.
The other thing about Brighton as well is they tend to move very quickly in the market as well. So they could potentially have a few things lined up.
Well, the likelihood is they had their eye on somebody that if anyone out of that team was taken, the next piece of the puzzle is already lined up. 100%.
And you can be guaranteed it's a name we've never heard of.
Well, it'll certainly be, it won't be somebody in your face, but it could be the likes of João Pedro that they're bringing up from the Championship. It could be, they're not off the map unheard of, but there are some, like, if you look at the boy Baliba, who we talk about again week after week, he's a super footballer. He was on a lot of lists, but a lot of teams fail to pull the trigger.
Speaking of money, see who he's linked with for the summer?
No.
Man City.
It doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me. He's an absolute machine. And I think at times, we probably don't see the best of him because of the Brighton team he's in, Whereas I think if he was elsewhere, you could really see a kind of rough diamond and see somebody polish it,
Absolutely. Right, Bournemouth, Liverpool.
Definitely game of the weekend for me. Definitely 110% game of the weekend. And I know what other games are on, but this is huge for me. Bournemouth in phenomenal form, obviously. Liverpool league leaders, going away from home. It's a tough place to go. Bournemouth are scoring goals at the minute. They're playing really good football. Justin Kluivert is on fire. We thought Bournemouth might struggle a little bit without Evan Nilsson and without Enazunel, but Kluivert's gone up and played as a false nine and done phenomenal. And Bournemouth have been unbelievable. I think it will be a tough day at the office. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a draw here. And I'm actually going to go 2-2.
Okay.
Hold on to your hats here. Ball down the line. Dalot with the little step over, puts it inside, plays it to the Stoya player, gets the rebound. Hoyland 1-2 on the edge of the box, gives it to Mainu. Garnacho ball into the box. And Mainu from 12 yards out across the keeper. It's 2-0. That's a tougher chance than the one he scores in the first half. Sorry, than the one he misses in the first half.
Yeah.
So, but great to see last couple of games. You've seen Martinez score, you've seen Dalot score, and you've seen Mainu score. So it's not just about the boy at the top or the two around them.
There's plenty of spread.
There's got to be spread. And if you look at as much as Gyökeres did at Lisbon, there was goals from everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And that's something that Amarin is looking for from this team. So that's good. That's great.
Yeah. So you're going 2-2 there. Everton
going
Leicester.
2-2. Really, really hard to look past Everton. Obviously, the David Moyes influence is huge. We know they were very, very good at the back anyway. I think at one stage they had about 5 out of 6 clean sheets, and at home they were impenetrable. And I think that's now starting to turn on the road as well. So they're very, very tough to beat Everton. They won't score a lot of goals, but it only takes one to win a game, and that's how David Moyes is going to do things. I think they'll keep Leicester quiet, and I think they'll nick it 1-0.
Okay, good show. Ipswich, Southampton.
This is going to be a tough game to call. Southampton have been much better in recent weeks under the new manager there. Now, listen, results still haven't oh, hold on. Look at this. And as if, like magic, Casemiro appears for a cameo. Casemiro and Lenny Yoro about to come on.
He said he says the move to Roma isn't going to happen, isn't it? Apparently, we'll be talking about it later.
Don't think so, no.
Roma, yeah. I think you boys wanted him to go, and Roma wanted to take him on loan.
Yes,
yeah,
we're looking to get him off the books, wages and fee, but it doesn't look likely at the minute. I think we're waiting on the bid from Saudi. Their window's open a little bit longer than ours, if I'm right.
Yeah.
So, like in the summer, so I think we can still sell to them even after the window closes. Now, our issue with that is it doesn't do anything for the squad.
Yeah, you can't act on it then.
We can't act on it now. Listen, we've kind of replaced Casemiro in the squad with Toby Collier anyway. So it's like for like, and you end up with money in the bank and wages off the bill, and it's not a bad
set you up for the summer.
Absolutely, it adds some value, you know.
Yeah, it gives you
Martinez coming off for Lenny Yoro, and Casemiro coming off for Christian Eriksen, so he'll go into the midfield then, alongside Kobe Mainoo.
Yeah. So Ipswich, Southampton.
I'm gonna say Ipswich just because of home advantage. But Southampton have been better of late. Even if the results haven't been any better, I think the performances have under Juric. But I think Southampton are, for me, all but dead and buried.
Yeah, Ipswich coming off the back of 2 hidings as well.
Yeah, and I think you'll probably see Kieran McKenna try and reset and try and go in and be very, very tight. And listen, who have they been hiding? Who gave them their hidings? You know, Liverpool. City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's likely to happen to any team. As United, we've been on the tail end of 2 defeats from City and Liverpool, so it's very easy to happen. And we're talking about 2 of the best football teams in Europe.
I just think when you look at them overall so far this season, they've been a little bit tougher than that to beat, even for better teams.
I
think in the last 2 weeks, they've just looked a bit sort of beat up, as they say. The season's kind of catching up on them.
I also think in the last couple of weeks, he's tinkered a little bit. And he's kind of searching for something. Now, he's obviously searching for a performance. And probably Liverpool and City aren't going to be the measuring stick for it.
No.
And I think this could be the one. And I think they just have more all over the pitch than Southampton do. Southampton have some really good players, really tidy players, but I don't think they've got what Ipswich have. I think there's just a little bit too much there.
Yeah. Newcastle, Fulham.
Another team off the back of a big defeat last week. Like the Newcastle. Oh, it wasn't last week. Newcastle was a week before. Sorry, I was going to stand on my own foot there. Newcastle and who?
Fulham.
Newcastle and Fulham. Yeah, Newcastle getting back to winning ways last week, obviously away at Southampton. And Fulham being edged out at the Cottage by my own Red Devils. I don't think Fulham are bad, but I didn't think they were good either. Now at home,
they look quite flat, didn't they? They didn't look that plucky kind of selves as they normally are.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is they have struggled to score goals at home this season, Fulham. And they have scored more away from home because obviously teams come out and try and attack a little bit more, and it creates a little bit of extra space. So Fulham going away can be a more intriguing prospect than they can at home. It's just when you look at them going to St. James's Park, as we said a few weeks ago, it's such a tough place to go. I can't look past Newcastle, but I do think Fulham will get on the score sheet, and I'm going to go 3-1 to Newcastle.
3-1. And then we have the derby, Wolves versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa coming back after European competition against Celtic. We know sometimes, obviously, they weren't on their travels, but sometimes they don't always bounce back into the league. A lot of players being linked with moves away. Obviously, Watkins with bids. Duran looks like he's gone to Saudi. Buendia's gone as well.
Yeah, Buendia's just left the building. He's gone to Leverkusen on loan, obviously. Diego Carlos has left the building.
It's a lot, isn't it, to be coming out of a squad that's already thin enough to handle both those competitions.
Absolutely. I think, if you look at the first two, when they coming back from the injury, Emery can't guarantee him game time. And the only way to get himself fit is to give him game time. So he needs to go out on loan and try and get a bit of game time, build himself back up. Now, I think there's an option from Leverkusen and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then with Carlos, I think he just didn't fancy him the way he thought he would.
Yeah.
And they're obviously looking to bring Axel Disasi in as cover. So it's probably one out and one in there. Buendia, who wasn't involved because he was injured, so you're not losing anything there. And then it'll be tail of the strikers. If one stays, one goes, and they may look to do something to bring an extra body in, because at the minute, you've obviously got Bailey, and you've got Rodgers, and you've got Mallon, and you've got Ramsey, but your only real number 9 is Ollie Watkins. There is no second number 9. Yeah. When Duran goes, Villa will need something to score goals, because if there's an injury, fan invader, I hate when they do this. If there's an injury to Ollie Watkins, Aston Villa will need a number 9 that can go and score goals, and they can't rely on, the next level, let's say.
What did you make of? We will get into the transfer news, of course, but what did you make of the Watkins bid and the timing of it and all this? And do we envisage a situation where Duran and Watkins both go? Hardly.
No. Listen, Aston Villa aren't going to be that silly. They're not going to sell their two biggest assets, so to speak, at the same time and leave themselves very short. Teams will know that they have money in their pocket, and they've a very short time in which to get a deal done, and they'll bend them over and they'll go in without the Vaseline. And they're not going to leave themselves open to that. I think the Arsenal bid, and I spoke to my cousin Paul today, he's a big Arsenal fan, and
kind of felt shades like the Suarez one, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I actually said to him, I said to him, one more, across. I actually said to him, I don't think the money was there for the bid. I don't think if Aston Villa had have accepted the bid, Arsenal could have gone through with it. I don't believe they have 60 million there available to them. I think what happened was, they got into a situation, and Arteta's spoken for the whole window about we need somebody in with Saka and Jesus' injuries and stuff like that. And to try and appease the fans and to try and put a smile on certain people's faces, hit it. Oh, wrong side, didn't it? I think they've made a bid that they had no real, they didn't really feel like they could get it over the line. They didn't want to get it over the line.
It kind of feels now as if they even knew about the Duran bid.
It's a PR stunt for me.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah. It's Arsenal trying to appease the Arsenal fans TV.
It's not a great look, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. And to be honest, he left me a message earlier, and his last word on it was, he says, Mikel Arteta won't fill me. He says, I'm telling you, he will not fill me. And I think there's a lot of Arsenal fans now starting to
wise up a bit.
Starting to turn. Now, listen, certainly from my point of view, I've waxed lyrical about Mikel Arteta. I think he's done a great job at Arsenal. I know, there hasn't been the trophy haul that they would have wanted so far. And I think at times some of the recruitment has been a bit skeptical of it. Questionable. When you look at certain things and you're like, this Arsenal team needs a number 9. It needs a number 9 badly. And then they go and buy another centre midfielder and a centre back, and you're going,
or another left back or something.
Jesus Christ, lads, you're covered in these, lads. What would you possibly want with another centre back and another centre midfielder? Like, go and get yourself a 9.
You need a 9 and you're signing Calafiori,
and you're like, this is just. But again, I don't know how much of that I rest on the shoulders of the manager.
The only thing is, he seems to be that focal bit of power in there, isn't it? Like, when you think about, obviously there must have been, it kind of reminds me what happened with Klopp when Edwards left the building. There was this kind of power struggle. And it sounds like it happened as well with Edu when Edu left the building and Arteta kind of won the battle a bit. So I think he might have a bit more power there than people think. Now, I think this going in for Ollie Watkins, I wonder did Arsenal know about the Durant situation? And maybe Arteta wasn't clever enough to that because he thought, yeah, we'll go in for Ollie Watkins. We need this 9, boom, boom. But Arsenal maybe in the background knew this ain't going to happen either.
This ain't happening.
Or Durant's already halfway out the door.
I 100% believe that Arsenal know that bid was never going to land. But they made it anyway, knowing it. And that's what you would say. They didn't. That's a phenomenal bit of football. Who are we here? Just go outside and score. One more. Oh, unlucky. I don't think anyone believes it was going to land the way it was. I don't think they were a reliable bidder. I think they're going in with it, not with what you would call utmost good faith.
Yeah, it was like us with the 115 for Caicedo, wasn't it? And I'm there going, Liverpool don't move that way. Stop. Imagine if he had said, yeah, I'm on the way.
So then are you at the stage where oh, sorry, you didn't pass your medical?
Exactly. Yeah, then you fail a medical, 100%. 100%.
Then you fail a medical and then it's this and that and you're just thinking, this is bizarre. You know, that's unlucky. We
had that with, didn't we have that with your man Fakir as well? Remember, he was basically nearly paraded, and then the brother came in looking for an extra few quid, and suddenly he had a problem with his knee.
That's right. And we were dodging a bullet.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What did you go for? Wolves versus Villa?
I didn't yet, but I think Wolves might get something out of this.
Yeah.
I think Wolves might get something just on the basis, as I said. And I talk about it. I think it's tough for teams with like Villa with smaller squads and stuff like that, and to back it up twice a week. I think that can be difficult. I think Wolves were a bit unlucky against Arsenal the last day, not to get something out of it. And I think I'll go 1-1.
Okay, right. Let's go into Sunday. Brentford versus Spurs. For me, this is Brentford all day.
Well, they've been very, very good at home. I think there's been 2 defeats there all season. They've been very, very good. Spurs haven't been. I think Spurs are going to goal up tonight, if I'm right, against Elfsborg. But I think, there's a great amount of energy in the Brentford team. Hang on. That's okay. I'm a fan of Thomas Frank. And I'm a fan of what Brentford do. I don't know, if the United job was up tomorrow, if I'd want Thomas Frank. I don't think that's where I would go. I'd look at an Andoni Iraola first. But I think he does a phenomenal job, and he's a really good guy. I think they're a well-coached team. I think behind the scenes they do a lot of stuff really, really well. And it puts them in the best position to go out and win games of football. I think they're very clever. I think all the systems they work with behind the scenes, they're very methodical. There's a real process. They're quite analytical about how they play football and stuff like that. And it's some of the players they have. We know Visa is a super footballer. The boy in Buemo as well, top footballer. The lads in the middle, Norgard and Damsgaard. There's lots of good footballers there at Brentford. I think Brentford will do Spurs up at the weekend. I agree with you. And I'm going to go Brentford 2-1.
I was thinking more the fact that Spurs might have one eye on the second leg of that cup game.
Spurs have just gone 2-0 ahead, actually. Literally just this second. 2-0.
Yeah, I still fancy Brentford. I think Spurs will be focused on the Carabao.
I think you're right. You're right. I don't think it'll be... Listen, Spurs are obviously on tonight. We need to probably have a little look at what kind of team they have out tonight, just so we have some sort of idea. But I think you're right. With the second leg coming fairly quick next week, they won't want any injuries. We know what their injury list is like at the minute. They won't want anything else to go wrong. Now, as I'm looking at
Mickey Van de Ven's back tonight as well.
Well, the goal scorers are Dane Scarlett and Demolo Ajoy. So you've got Austin, Porro, Van de Ven, Davis, Gray, Bergvall, Bentancur, Sarr, and then you've got Mikey Moore, Richarlison, and Son. And the subs that have come on, 2 of the subs have scored, actually, would you believe? 2 of the subs have scored, and one of the subs, Radu Dragusin, came on at half-time for Mickey van de Ven, and then Dragusin went off after 66 minutes as well. I don't know whether that was an injury or whether it was tactical that he was taken off a centre-back to bring on an attacker, which he did.
Maybe. Yeah, I think we'll see anyway. Listen, Spurs fans, don't panic anyway. We'll get you your wish come Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever the match is. We'll sort that out. Don't worry. United versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I watched Palace last weekend against Brentford, and they were a little bit poor. It was a bit of a damn squib. I didn't think Brentford were great. Sorry, I didn't think Brentford were great, as they tend not to be away from home. But they took their chances and they were solid enough at the back. And I thought Palace just lacked cutting edge. And I think, obviously, the clean sheet last weekend was important for us. We're 86 minutes on the clock here tonight. It's 2-0. There's a possible another clean sheet. So we're starting to kind of work the system a little bit better and tidy things up at the back. And maybe if we can keep things tight, we can nick it. I'm going to go United 2-1.
Yeah, I don't disagree. This will probably be a league-defining match coming up. Arsenal versus Man City. Super Sunday, pending what Liverpool do on the Saturday against Bournemouth. If Liverpool were to win and City were to win, or City were to beat Arsenal, or a draw, be very tough then to reel Liverpool back in then, wouldn't it, at that stage?
Absolutely. I don't necessarily think, we will be the 1st of February. So it is still quite early. But I think either of these teams, that's a crunching tackle.
Yeah, and there's been a few of them tonight, actually.
Yeah, there was a pretty bad. It's actually, you know what? The same guy, Dawa, has gone in. That I think if that's the Premier League, that's a red.
Yeah.
I think there's still a little bit of life in it, just because of how many games there is left. But yeah. I think if either team loses, it does put them, with not a lot of rope left, let's say.
Then the following week we have the Everton game coming up, so that'll be pivotal as well.
Well, it's actually in this game week, especially for fantasy football purposes.
Oh yeah, because it's linked in, isn't it?
Because it's linked, yes, that's right.
There we go. So what do you call an Arsenal Man City? Man City looking better again, aren't they?
Oh, that was unlucky. What's going on there? That's a great ball. Did you see the free kick?
I'm a little bit ahead here now. So
there's a free kick just from in front of goal, and Bruno goes up to take it as if he's gonna shoot, and as he does, he chips the wall, and the ball bounces, and Casemiro tries to flick it with the outside of his foot past the keeper. Oh my God, here we go. Get in. Oh, very unlucky. Bruno one-on-one with the keeper. It's a great piece of skill from Alejandro Garnacho. He drops the shoulder and cuts inside the centre-back. And as he does, there's a little drag and flick behind him to Bruno, who comes on. And Bruno comes on and just tries to slide it past the keeper, which he
should be finishing that one, shouldn't he? That's a very
I actually think it's a really tight angle. Yeah, it's a tight angle, and it's on his wrong side. So it's a tight angle. Now there is a train of thought to say, as the keeper comes, can you go round him and even cut it back?
Scoop it up over him. He's on the deck at that stage nearly.
He is. It's a very tight angle though. But it's we've actually played some good football here. We've moved the ball much quicker.
And your wing play is much better.
Way better.
Your wing play much better.
Considering you've two tens who took in. You know, to have guys going down the outside, it's helpful, you know.
Well, it's how the system should be played. So maybe players are beginning
Well,
to work
I was
their head
gonna,
out.
yeah, the message is starting to land, I suppose, isn't it? Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a decent side as well.
Yeah, came out well. Where are we then? What did you pick, Arsenal, Man City?
I think I'm going to just go draw. I think I'm going to sit in the fence. I don't think.
There's being built to stay humble derby.
Oh, right, okay. I don't think either side will want to lose the game, and with that in mind, I think it'll be tight enough that, you know, they'll stifle each other a little bit. Arsenal don't score lots of goals, and City concede too many. So I don't see it being, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see 1-1.
Depending on the result on Saturday, we'd be quite happy with that.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, even if you've got the draw and then that end of the draw, you're another game on and everyone's still where they sat beforehand. So, you know.
Yeah, and it's another game off the books. Yeah. Chelsea versus West Ham, the Monday night one.
Yeah, I suppose, liking what, if I'm a West Ham fan, I certainly like what I've seen from Graham Potter and West Ham. Again, results haven't yet been where they'll want them to be, but the performances have been much better. And they've looked like a team. They're still missing quite a few with injuries, but they look like they're pulling in the right direction. They look like the tactics are going to work, provided you get all the square pegs back in the square holes and stuff like that. So I think Potter's started the ball rolling there at West Ham quite well, but I think going back to Chelsea will be a tough day at the office. I think Chelsea, obviously after last weekend, will feel like they left a bit out there against City and will want to come back, and obviously, you know, they'll be looking for a victory. I think the one thing I will say is, and I don't know how much longer Chelsea are going to be able to stick with Robert Sanchez. It's been one. Oh, should have scored there. It's a great ball. It's been one incident after another, and it's just snowballing. And I actually think, for his sake, they should take him out, give the boy Jorgensen a couple of games, let Sanchez get his head back, and try and build him back up again from there. Maybe make him the Europa League keeper for a few weeks and let him get games, and just because I think at the minute it's spiraled, and I think it can be a bit awkward to watch at times.
The manager is now trying to protect the situation that's unprotectable, really. You know what I mean? And the longer it goes on, if he lets it progress, if there's more errors, then you're in a real problem there, where they're starting to look at you as the manager as being the problem, not necessarily the keeper. You know, because you're the one who's make the decision.
You're the one that's giving them an opportunity every week, and you're the one putting them in the spotlight. And there is, you know, you've got to protect your player as well. And I think sometimes by playing him, people might think, oh, well, I'm going to play him so it doesn't look like I hook him. And that's well and good. The issue arises is, if he's still not playing well, it's a bad game after a bad game after a bad game. And then it snowballs and it becomes very difficult, you know. Cut it back, hit it first time.
Very, very difficult then to justify it.
Yeah.
And especially when it's so glaring, and he's kind of in around one of the worst keepers in the league.
Is that not a penalty? Hold on a minute here. Do you watch this?
I did.
This has to be a penalty now. These lads have been, this is brilliant from Mania on the edge of the box. These lads have been very, very antsy. Get in. Right, we've got to go and have VAR have to look at this.
Is it the smack in the mouth you're talking about?
It's the smack in the mouth. Your man's arm comes up across him, and
he went down like a lead balloon though. Like it was
look at the back of his left hand. Your man palms him, and watch him.
It's a corner anyway.
Thought my son was asleep.
Oh, how'd he miss that?
Tommy Summers asleep over there. He's not. He's hanging on in.
Free header for Delay.
Unlucky. It's another area that we seem to be improving in. Because I think there was some crazy statistic at one stage that we were 18 months without scoring from a corner. Whereas now, how many times have you seen us threaten when the ball has been in?
2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good night at the office. It's a victory. You know, another clean sheet onto the next round.
Not an easy place to go either.
No, I'm happy with that now, I have to say. And that sends us through in third place. With 18 points. We just missed out on top spot 19, where the two ahead of us. And considering
that extra $4,000, is it?
You're just thinking the down the line about who you end up with, isn't
it? Who did you go with? Chelsea, West Ham? Sorry, you have to give me Chelsea, West Ham.
I'm gonna go West Ham.
Oh, that's a call. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go West Ham.
Interesting. Right, let's have a quick chat about transfers. Start off, obviously, West Ham lodged a bid that was rejected for the boy who had a real good game against us last night, Ricardo Pepe.
Close it up.
Did really well. But West Ham are also trying to nail down this deal for Evan Ferguson.
Yeah.
So they look like they're going to do a bit of business, probably for Potter.
This was something I mentioned a few weeks ago. The Ferguson deal. I heard a couple of weeks ago that the Ferguson deal was going to be done. That link up with Potter was what Ferguson was looking for. And that's where they were looking to go with this. I kind of think he feels like there's a certain amount of trust there. Potter was kind of the guy who brought him to the dance. Obviously, De Zerbi came in and stuff like that, but I think he has a lot of faith in Potter and in what Potter does. And I think he knows going into West Ham at the minute, he's going to be their man. So it gives him an opportunity to get in, play some games, build a bit of confidence. He'll have Potter beside him, coaching him along. And I think that's what's best for Evan Ferguson right now and what's best for Ireland as well.
Yeah, he kind of needs, Potter's probably kind of that father figure for him who'll put an arm around him. And he'll probably feel much comfortable there. And also,
100%.
He has the physicality as well that kind of suits a West Ham situation. So
yes.
So it should be interesting. Xavi Simons, PSG, this deal today.
I know you're not a fan of his.
It's not that I'm not a fan of his. I thought the price was outrageous.
I think there's a lot of, reasons when No, I don't, because I think he's a super footballer. I really, really do. I know he's not necessarily your type of footballer. You like a little bit more. You don't like, some of his attributes, I would say. But I think he's a really good baller, this kid. He's still so young. And I think you're buying his ceiling when you buy him. And how good could he be? And I still think with how young he is, he could be one of the top names in European football over the next few years. He really could. You're not sold, and I get that, and that's
I'm not for a number of reasons. I just think he lacks that. Like, even when you're seeing Messi play and how skillful Messi was and stuff like that, there was still a bit of a strong bastardy type of player in there as well, that could hold up the ball, that could take a smack and stuff like that. This lad seems quite soft at times in those battles. Now listen, from a skill set point of view and everything else, he's a phenomenal player, but I just don't know. And PSG as well, I don't know.
I think obviously he's 21 years of age. He seems like he's around an awful lot longer than he is.
It's because he was so young, of course, when he broke out, yeah.
And that's the thing. You can be fooled into thinking he's reached some sort of peak. At 21, we haven't even probably seen half of what this kid can do. And I do think there's a huge amount of talent there. As he matures, as physically he gets a little bit better, I think he has an awful lot of attributes. And I think Leipzig know what they're doing here. They're not going to spend money that they don't feel like they can recoup further down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It remains to be seen. It'll be interesting to actually follow it, but I just
excuse me.
More, you know. A lot of movement at the moment for Bayern Munich on this forward, Matthias Tell. Arsenal, Chelsea, yourselves, Tottenham, all very interested in this guy.
This kid is a really, really good footballer. He's electric. He's exciting. He's a phenomenal finisher. He's a really, really good footballer. I think, and you'll have to pardon my French on this, he's almost been cock-blocked by Harry Kane. And he's gotten the way of this kid's development. And I think now he's at the stage where he's like, I'm getting to an age where I want to start playing games week in, week out. And with this guy ahead of me, it ain't going to happen.
And that's great.
Likes.
That's great to see in a player as well, you know.
Yeah, and he wants to play
as Munich, you know.
He wants to play as a 9. He doesn't want to play off the left, off the right. He's a number 9. He'll go in behind. He'll stretch defenses. He'll stand guys up 1-on-1, drop a shoulder, go inside, go out, and he'll just create enough space to get a shot off. And he has dynamite in his boots. I think he's quite a similar player to John Duran. I think he's that kind of player. You know, can hit them from anywhere, but likes to play through the middle, will hustle, will harry. He's good. He's physical. He's a really good footballer. I can see why there's so much interest in him.
What? I mean, why isn't Arsenal going in down there and throwing the money on the table and getting them in?
Because they're Arsenal.
It's madness, isn't it? It's madness.
Yeah, and listen, when I was on the way home earlier, there was different things going off on the phone, and it looks like at the minute, if anybody is going to sign him, it's Spurs.
Apparently they were leading the race from my
Spurs are leading the race for this kid. And like, listen, there's one thing we got to say. Like, obviously, a huge amount of injuries at Spurs there over the last little while. And it's been very tough for Ange. But great to see, you know, Daniel Levy saying, we're not going to sack you. We're actually going to back you. And we feel like if we could get you a couple more pieces and you could get some of the pieces back off the table and into the jigsaw, we think it would work. I think Spurs are building, you know, a really decent squad there. Now, I do think there's a little bit of taking pieces out and putting pieces in, but I think Spurs, if they keep hold of Ange and they weather the storm, we haven't seen the best of them yet.
Do you think if they lose next week and go out of the cup, do you think he survives?
I think he might, you know.
Interesting.
I think he might.
Look at our Premier League position and all; it's horrific.
It is, and I get that, but there's definitely extenuating circumstances. I mean, like the injury list is it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And not only have they had to put square pegs into round holes, but they've had to put young square pegs into round holes and inexperienced square pegs into round holes. And we know that's really, really tough in the league because every team in the league is fighting and scratching and clawing for a performance and for points and for spaces and for, you know, somebody's playing for something all the time, and it's usually their life.
And also most teams as well have had a lot of injuries as well. Maybe not quite at that level.
There's no team in the league that have had
their level.
Injuries to that level. None. That's next level. You know, that really is. And I'm not necessarily a big Spurs fan that I feel like I need to, you know, but I just think when you look at the list, to be without your first choice centre-back pair and your goalkeeper, that triangle at the back that sets the base, Van de Ven, Romero, and Vicario, it's very, very tough. It's really tough. And then obviously you lose Destiny Adogi, and then Porro drops off as well. And then there's Bentancur goes missing in the middle. And, it's tough. It's really, really tough.
Yeah, no, it is, but it's it'll be interesting to see.
I feel like you want to see Ange get the chop.
No, not. I mean, I don't want to see any manager particularly get the chop, but I think.
But you're not an Ange fan.
No, I'm not. I'm not, because it's kind of like, and it's not even like it's not over last season or anything like that, and it's just, I just find him a little bit strange. I find him, he's a little bit kind of. I think he shows an awful lot of chest at times, and doesn't necessarily have a huge amount to back it up, to be honest. So I don't know. That maybe that's just me, but I don't know. But then again, look, you look at Spurs over the last, say, 10 years or whatever it is. They've tried Conte ball, they've tried Mourinho ball, they've tried Ryan Mason ball, they've tried Ange ball. They've tried every different type of ball. So they've tried attacking football, defensive football, negative football, pro football. They've tried it all, and nothing seems to have come
Sorry,
to
just as I'm talking to you, there's a strap going across the front of my screen.
Yeah.
And it just confirms the price tag on Xavi Simons. And the down payment is only 42.
Yeah.
The add-ons are 25, but that's not necessarily a guarantee. The 42 is the only guarantee in it.
Yeah.
And at 42, it's not terrible value. And if you paid out half of the rest, you'd be at 55-ish, and it's not awful business.
Yeah, I kind of, when I seen it in our WhatsApp group today, I was thinking about half of what was said. So I think what was said in there was something like 77, wasn't it? And I was thinking somewhere around 35, 40. So if they're paying 42,
they're paying 42.
That's reasonable for the kid.
Plus 25 in add-ons, possibly. So it's 67.
Yeah. Now listen, if some of those add-ons are like winning the French league, good luck.
No, he's going the other way.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
He's going to Leipzig.
God, yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I read that wrong.
That's okay.
So no, I wonder what the add-ons are like. It'd be interesting to see what they are. I wanted to ask you, Patrick Dorgu, he was to have his medical today. Any update on that deal? Are we done? The United one?
I think obviously Fabrizio tweeted earlier and said the medical has been postponed till the weekend.
Okay.
That it's something to do with documentation on that side. So it could be visa stuff. It could be, there's lots of little things it could be, but it's not anything that's gonna hold up the deal. It's just gonna slow it down ever so slightly. And I think if we look at the calendar, obviously, and we think, where are we likely to see this kid? Obviously the weekend we've got Palace on Sunday, and then next Friday night, interestingly enough, we've Leicester in the FA Cup, and that's probably where I expect to see this kid. I think you can put him into the FA Cup game against Leicester and possibly allow him to find his feet, if not from the start, certainly from 50, 60 minutes in. Because don't forget, he has been playing. He's not injured. He's fully fit. He has been playing games for Lecce, doing quite well. So you would have expected for him to come in and hit the ground running instead of having to find his feet, so to speak,
Yeah, and it is an area. It does fix a number of problems in that area. So you could be an important signing. Tyler Dibbling linked with a move as well to Spurs, apparently, and also a couple of German sides. Yeah,
this kid is going to be like opening a Christmas cracker for someone. They're going to get a surprise in here with this kid, because this kid is just unbelievable. I can't tell you how much I like this kid,
Yeah,
and how good and how
last week, didn't
how good and how big I think this kid is going to be. If you've watched him for Southampton, he is electric.
the
Like,
shining light.
he is a shining light at like 18 years of age, 19, whatever he is, and he's just phenomenal. He scored goals for Southampton this season at big venues. You know, he hasn't just done it at St. Mary's, he's done it away from home and stuff like that. He scored at the Emirates against Arsenal and stuff like that. Likes to pick the ball up deep. He's a dribbler. He picks it up deep. He drives the teams. He goes past players. He commits players. He creates space around them for others to play and to create in. I think he's really, really going to be a big footballer, this kid. And I would hate to see him go to Spurs, because again, I think that's another really good young footballer going into Spurs that helps build that squad that we talked about. And obviously, from my point of view as a United fan, if I look at the minute and I say, okay, Liverpool, Arsenal and City are all ahead of us, for us to compete for that fourth spot, we're now competing, okay, with Spurs, with Chelsea, with Villa. Now, I know, Spurs aren't having the best time at the minute, but I do believe that's where they will be. I think, we'll obviously be going at it with Newcastle, with Spurs, with Villa and with Chelsea, looking for that fourth place. And the more those other teams bring in, the more difficult it becomes for us to get the spot, Yeah, Spurs this is confirmed. Spurs in discussions with Bayern for £50 million signing of Matthias Tell.
Yeah. Interesting. Galatasaray looking to get Walker Peters out of Southampton. They lodged a bid of $8 million.
Who are?
Galatasaray.
Wow. Okay. And it's actually something I looked at the other day, because he's out of contract in the summer. He's one of the ones who can talk to, teams externally and in Europe and stuff like that. And I did think there would be a couple of Premier League teams that would have a little look at this kid, because, again, he's certainly one of the better players in that Southampton team, Walker Peters.
Yeah.
He's a tidy footballer. He's got a great engine on him, technically gifted. He probably lacks a little bit of size, but what he lacks in size, he makes up for in work rate and endeavour and stuff like that. And I think Southampton will be mental to get rid of him at the minute. I know $8 million is probably a big amount of money for them, if you consider that they're going down anyway and they're going to lose him for nothing in the summer. So, do you get them to 10 and then take their hand off? Possibly. And then be able to reinvest that in maybe 2 players to come and play in your championship team next season or something,
Yeah, general acceptance that you're going down kind of thing.
That you're going down, put the money in the bank and absolutely. And again, we know what the culture at Southampton is like. They've done so well in bringing youth through. Maybe there's somebody underneath who's waiting for an opportunity as well. And by clearing that space and giving them 6 months in the Premier League, you save yourself the job of going and buying someone in the summer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke about the Duran deal, but obviously Victor Boniface, obviously not too happy. He had a deal there in the bag apparently with Al Nassr, and it fell through because they went for Duran apparently. So
it was a strange
pivot.
Not necessarily pivot, because I mean, they're very different strikers, absolutely very different. But like, I still thought to myself, now I still feel the same with John Duran. I don't necessarily see, the attraction in Al Nassr other than the very obvious, which is the bag of cash.
Yeah.
Like, I other than that, I don't see it. I don't see why, if you're John Duran, you would go out of your way to go to Saudi Arabia. Now, I know some people have said, like, the kid's so young, he can go and do 3 or 4 years, come back at 25 in his peak, and play for anyone he wants. Well, having made an absolute shed full of cash.
Any deal going out there is going to be about the bag of cash, unless you're talking about lads who are coming right to the end of their career, like a KDB or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you've seen that with the likes of Brozovic and stuff like that, and that's the pension proper before the end of the game, and I get that part. Like, I've no problem for that. If it's going to be somewhere for, players to go out and kind of finish their careers and put football on the map out there, that's fine. But I don't like to see the likes of John Duran to head somewhere like that. I really don't. And there's huge, huge talk of Vinicius Jr. heading that way in the summer. And
Crazy.
that will just, with the level that this guy is playing at, that'll just be heartbreaking if it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke about Miguel Almiron. You spoke about it going back to Atlanta United and stuff like that. We spoke about Emi Buendia. Gerard leaving Al Ettifaq as head coach. Gone.
Yeah. Again, I think probably spent enough time there, probably made enough money, and he'll leave now and look to try and come back and get some sort of a job, probably championship level, would you think, to start with?
Yeah, try and build his name up again, probably, or something,
Try and build the name back up again. I think he'll, listen, if he was to go into somewhere like a Southampton in the summer and go in with some of the players they have and with a little bit of a budget to build, and, wouldn't be a bad...
That'd be a very good job for Stevie, actually, Southampton.
It would for Stevie, and I think for Southampton, it probably wouldn't be a bad fit either.
Yeah, certainly be interesting. All right, and then I just rounded out really with Amarin as well. He said with Rashford, it's not personal, but he has to change. Just talking about Rashford and the transfers and all that kind of stuff.
I think the two things I'll say on it is, number one, he probably didn't talk about one player at Sporting as much in 4 years as he has with Rashford in 4 weeks, so that's obviously probably quite frustrating.
The devil's in the detail, isn't it?
But I do love a lot of what he says, and I do like, Marcus, it's nothing personal. But if you want to play in my team, you need to reach my levels, and right now you're not reaching that level. Do you have the talent and ability to? Absolutely. I think it's unquestionable that he does. And he's come out and said, we'd be a better team with Rashford in it. He said, but not until he reaches the level of what we expect. And that's putting the onus back onto Rashford. And it's leaving the ball in his side of the court. And I think...
Is it Amarin like sort of offering a bit of an olive branch there, kind of?
No, I think he's being really, really clever. And I think he's saying, well, actually, I'm not trying to... Because you have to remember, when you look at Rashford, he's a young Manchester boy. A lot of fans could take that the wrong way, that Portuguese managers come in and try to ship out one of the local lads and blah, blah. But he's also said, well, actually, you're not at the level where you need to be involved. But if you get to it, the door's open. But you have to get there. I can't take you there. You need to be the one to lead this. And this isn't something we've heard from, Amarin. This is something we've heard under every single manager that's come in and has had issues with this guy.
And those other managers haven't had the backing that they needed to go this route.
Yeah.
Now he has the backing. He's in there and they know. Like it's he has to be allowed to do.
Well, I think it's I don't know if it's necessarily just backing. I think it's a very bold move and it's a brave move. Well,
what he's trying to do, he's trying to absolutely obliterate the player power situation that has killed most of the previous managers.
Exactly. And I think that's a brave move, because if that goes the wrong way, you're up shit creek with no paddle, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're rolling the dice.
Yeah, you are rolling the dice. But I think there is an opportunity for you to get something that nobody else has got, which is to bring them together and to unite them. And that's, I suppose, all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Will we get into Beat the Bookie?
Sure, let's.
Go on, kick us off there. I have to give you a Royal Rumble number as well. Actually, remind me before.
Ooh, Chavo.
Yeah.
Tin, tin, tin. excuse me, what? Let me have a look here now. Was anyone close with bets last week?
I think I was slightly close, didn't I? Because I called the Everton win, didn't I? On one of the bets and stuff like that. So, but I think I was close on one or two of them. But
I was very close.
yeah,
I did Liverpool and bout to score. What score did that finish? 4-1?
yes.
I did Newcastle and bout to score. That was 3-1. And I did draw and bout to score in the United Fulham game. And that finished 1-0. So I hit the crossbar, 1 goal away. That was 25-1. So hopefully tonight we're able to give you a winner. What have we got? I'll do my shortest price bet first.
Okay.
Which is to score or assist. And I've gone for Liam Delap, Ipswich at home against Southampton.
Okay.
Anthony Gordon, Newcastle at home to Fulham. Chris Wood, Forest at home to Brighton. And Brian Mbeumo, Brentford at home to Spurs. Goal or assist, 20-1.
20-1.
Mm-hmm.
I did just an anytime goal scorer. And I did 4, and it pays 35-1.
Right.
So you had Chris Wood, I have Chris Wood.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Mo Salah.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Alexander Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Or Isaac. And I went with your boy. Your boy's cropping up my bets all the time. You're turning me on him, really. Bruno Fernandes against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And some really tasty prices in there as well. Bruno was over 2-1. Mo is even money. And Chris Wood is nearly 2-1.
Nice.
They're good prices. Nice. Goal scorer.
He's Wood is 6-4 goal or assist.
Yeah.
Which gives you the,
Yeah, it gives you the option.
Yeah. My second bet is my card bet.
Okay.
Boubacar Samari, a name that reels off the tongue week to week.
On the banner every week.
Yeah.
He's your nap, as they say.
That's Leicester away at Everton. I think that'll be a tough day for Leicester. It'll be very combative, and I think he might be 5 minutes late on a tackle and end up getting a card. Somebody we spoke about earlier, Carlos Baliba, another guy who loves a tackle, is very friendly with the yellow cards. Again, they're at Forest. That'll be a tough game at the office, cup day at the office. And I round out with a guy who's also always good for a card. And I think it'll be feisty at the weekend. And it's Newcastle and Fulham, and that's Joe Linton. Always good for a card. So Samari, Joe Linton, and Baliba. And the treble pays 30-1. So
it's a good bet.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that.
Physical guys in the middle of the park with 3 bottles on their hands.
Yeah. And then I'll round out with my result I'm about to score. 2 of the teams were in my bet last week. One of them wasn't. So I'm going Forest. I'm about to score against Brighton. Looking for a turn up from last week. Hit that rebound.
Great price as well.
Yeah. 7-2. I have them at.
Yeah.
Newcastle and about to score. Obviously at home against Fulham. 2-1. And United and about to score against Palace 11-4. And as a treble, it pays 50-1.
Yeah, I had 2 of them.
Okay.
I had 2 of them. I had Forest and I had United. Mine is 174-1.
So you've gone for 4 instead of 3.
Yeah, gone for 4, yeah. The other one I went for was Aston Villa. Result about to score against Wolves.
And is your last one West Ham?
No, my last one is Brentford. About to score against Spurs. And the 4 of those plays 174-1.
Wow.
good bet.
That is a good bet.
Mm.
Imagine. Tenner, 17.50.
Absolutely. Tasty.
Happy Saturday.
Tasty, absolutely.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That's it. I have to give you a Royal Rumble number. No Spence spared IKEA sandwich bag. Great news today as well. Triple H going into the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Well deserved. Looked a bit shocked, didn't he?
He did. And they did it very well as well.
Yeah, they sure did.
So your number is 12.
Okay. Anyone ever won from 12 before?
No idea. Couldn't tell you.
Off my head, I'm going to say no.
I would have thought no as well. But there you go. There's your number. So that's it. Another show in the bag. Royal Rumble weekend coming up. Can't wait. Should be electric. Great weekend of football as well. So, folks, have a safe weekend. If you can, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification button. Drop a like in the video. I don't know what's happened tonight. It's kind of weird to show tonight because we've had no chat.
Really?
Yeah, there's no chatting there at all. If you look, the chatting there at the moment, we had Joanne saying hello, Morris saying I'm alive, Joanne saying she has the second half of United on, and then what was the first half like, and that's it. So nothing else. We've had 4 comments for the whole night. So I don't know if it's an issue with StreamYard or YouTube or...
Well, it seems to be an issue on your side because I just clicked into the comments and there's loads.
So how am I not getting them?
So you've Game Killer.
I have nothing here.
Game Killer says 3-1 City, Savinho. Joanne says 4-0 Chelsea against West Ham. Acer says it's the League Winner Derby. Acer says 3-0 to Spurs. Then he says full time. Then he says Amra will be delighted avoiding the draw tomorrow. Ted is in. Ted says much better second half. First half was a snails fest. He said PSG, nobody will come near him in the league most of the time. Keith Siri is in. Keith says, I think Lamine Yamal will be top 2 best players in the next 2 or 3 years for his age. I think it's better than Mbappe. Ted is back in. I don't think there's anyone there who jump on to get rid of Ange. Morris is in. He says, Ange is a Celtic fraud. Darren, you should know that.
There's my chat said on the side, the 4 comments.
Right. Oh, there's loads up here. Jack is in. Big up. Yep. Sorry, I'm late, lads. I was watching my channel. I was doing a watch along on my channel. Daz Reynolds is in. Jack is in again. Ted is back in. Ryan is in. Our Wolves fan, Ryan. Daz Reynolds again. Acers. Ted is back in. Ryan G. Ian Kelly is in there. So there's a lot going on in the chat. I usually don't look at the comments, lads, because
I'm after exiting
I'm
after exiting the chat and I'm after coming back in and then they're all there.
That so it wasn't updating for you.
Wasn't updating for me also. Folks, I totally apologise.
I did say to you earlier we're a bit laggy, do you remember? So might be a bit of the...
No, this isn't even laggy. This is like literally I clicked out of it, I clicked in and there's like 50 comments.
Yeah, but it's filter and feeding, so it's obviously signal wise. It must have something must have gone a bit.
But it still should be, even if it's coming through slow, you know.
Yeah.
There we go. But there you go, folks.
They'll think we forgot about them.
Yeah, I think we just had a chat ourselves.
And you know what? We actually had a great audience in. It's about 10 or 12 lads in there, and Joanne.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that, folks. There you go. I had literally no chat. So I think maybe should we allocate some Royal Rumble numbers to the lads in the chat then, will we? We still have
absolutely
for those who are in. So let's get
100%.
Let's get right back up to the top then. So Joanne, if she's watching the Royal Rumble, Joanne, if you're watching the Royal Rumble, we're going to give you a number right now, right?
100%.
So Joanne is getting number 23. So Joanne, take note of your number.
The Michael Jordan, the 23.
Morris is getting number 4. So that's who Morris gets. So take note of it, folks, because I don't.
So Morris, you're getting number 4, and you're not getting a striker because you've no money to pay for it, and you're just trying to appease your shitty fans.
Game Killer is in. We've got to give Game Killer a number as well.
Game Killer.
Game Killer.
Do we know who Game Killer is? Game Killer.
Game Killer's getting number 11 in the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
If he so wants it. Shawnee Duffy's there as well. Big up, Shawnee. Thanks for joining us. We're going to give you a number if you're a Rumble fan as well. And it's a good number, Shawnee. 28. Great number to get in the Rumble. Great number to get. Zach is in. Zach Minger, is it? Minger?
Morris. Say by the bell. Zach Morris.
No. Zach Minger is in. And he has a championship belt, I think, as his icon. So he has to get one. And he's after getting number. Sorry, upside down. He's after getting number 30. Number 30.
I'm trying to see what kind of belt that is. It looked like maybe Seattle Sounders or something like that, is it? It looks like it's one of the football ones.
Absolutely.
Zach might tell us which it is.
So we know Keith will want a number anyway. Keith, big Undertaker fan and all. Keith, you're getting number 8.
Sorry to hear that, Keith. Sorry to hear that, pal.
There you go. Who else? Have we anyone else in here who hasn't had a number yet? Yeah, I'll go down through them. Ted, I think, appeared, didn't he? Acer's got one last night. There's Ted. Ted, we're going to get a number for you now. Ted is getting number 26 in the Rumble.
Can we allocate a number for the child asleep on the bed?
Of course we can.
For Brody. When he wakes up, I'll tell him what number he got.
Right. Let's pull it out here. Number 10.
Brody's 10 and I'm 12. Grand. Okay, cool.
And then we have Jack is in. Don't know if Jack's a Royal Rumble fan or a WWE fan.
Jack's absolutely a Royal Rumble fan.
So
what away?
13.
Unlucky for some, Jack, but not for you, kiddo.
Ryan, I'm not sure, Ryan, if you're a wrestling fan or not, but we give you one anyway because we have shirts and all there to give away and caps.
Absolutely.
So 17.
That's Ryan. A nice number, isn't it?
Right middle of the road, isn't it? Middle of the road.
It's a nice number.
Let's see. Who else have we got in here? Ian Kelly's in here. Let's give it a shake. Got to give Ian a number for the Rumble.
Just a question. Did all the good numbers leave the other night, like?
No, so I just pulled out 30.
When did you pull out 30?
I just gave someone 30 there a few seconds ago.
Oh, 13 now? That was 13.
I gave out 30 as well.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah,
30 was in the bag and I got 12. All right, sounds fair enough.
30 just came out.
Jesus.
This one is 15. Upside down again. 15 for Eno. Daz got one last night as far as I know. Yeah, so yeah, there you go. I think that's everyone. Yeah, that's everyone. So there we go. Done. So we had 3 numbers left. So the 3 numbers that weren't allocated were 20.
Could be in the shake-up.
Another good one, yeah. 3, which definitely could be in the shake-up.
Do you think?
Absolutely. And 14. So they're the 3 that weren't picked. So there you go. That's it. Royal Rumble this weekend. So, folks, Rachel. I didn't realise Rachel, yeah. Give Rachel then, what ones did we say? What wasn't allocated? 14. Again, Ted says you can have 20. Dazzler, what number do you think John Cena will be and Roman and Seth?
Is Cena going in at 17?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Cena going in at 17? But he has to, doesn't he?
Can you imagine? Ted's in.
If Cena goes in at 17, that is just peak long-term storytelling.
Cena 27 for me. There you go. Cena's going in at number 1, Ted says. Ted wants to know, do you want to guess his goal scorers? 4 teams. Villa, Everton, Brentford and Liverpool.
I do. I'm going Morgan Rogers.
Didn't give us the odds this week.
I'm going Morgan Rogers, who was on fire.
Surely he's going back to Ollie Watkins this week.
I'm going Morgan Rogers.
Okay.
At Everton, I'm gonna go. Everton's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think is Calvert-Lewin out again?
I think he's out. I'll go Decore.
Okay.
At Everton. Brentford, I'm going in Buemo And Liverpool, I'm going Cody Gakpo. Ted, many have I got? Many have I got, Ted?
Right in front to
Ted,
come back.
Just give me the 4 horsemen. Just give it to me.
Just
give me the 4.
Had I not be on fire this weekend, Rogers. You'd be sitting in a corner crying. There, didn't I tell you? Look, Watkins.
Ndoi, I forgot about Ndoi completely. He got the winner last week, obviously. Yeah.
This is great.
Visa was the opposite to Mbeumo, and then Salah was
Franker, isn't he? Morris got a ticket for the Leicester Arsenal game. £56.
Heading to but he's going to Leicester to watch it, is he?
Yeah. He's going as a Leicester fan, like.
So he's in the Leicester end.
Yeah, you wouldn't be going as an Arsenal fan.
That's woeful, isn't it? That is fucking woeful.
Imagine if Leicester win.
Imagine your team pricing their tickets that high that you had to go and watch them away in the wrong end. That's fucking horrific. And you've no striker. And you've no money to buy a striker.
It's the only way you get to see it.
And they pulled a PR stunt with Ollie Watkins. A fucking PR stunt, Morris. I used to have a lot of respect for Arsenal Football Club, Morris, but because they haven't won the Champions League, I fucking none.
Ryan's in. My sister's a Villa fan. Can't we getting stick off her?
Sister's a Villa fan and he's a Wolves fan. Slaughter in the gaff.
Which is not surprising, actually, with the closeness of things and stuff. Well, more than I get. It was 44-1. Did give you the odds, you just missed them. Oh, he did. I seen it up there, actually, 44-1. I thought you were talking about the Rumble. There we go. €109 because I had to sign up as a member. So he's a member. He's now officially a Leicester.
A Leicester Supporters Club member. It's getting worse, isn't it?
I tell you. Fair play to him, though. Commitment. Do you think we have appealed the red, Niall? Do you think we have appealed the red?
Last night, the kid.
I don't think there's any appeal on that, is there?
No.
That's not for me, anyway. Although I did tweet out this morning, I tweeted out a picture of him saying, I like a boy with a bit of commitment.
Absolutely.
3 minutes into his debut, boom. PR stunt, correct, Darren? There you go.
100%, Morris, 100%, pal.
Morris said it to me today as well.
Yeah.
Loads of Villa fans where I live. Yeah, I'd imagine so, yeah. Always a mix. Interesting, though. Right, folks, have a safe weekend. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. Enjoy the football. We will be back on Monday. I'll be back, obviously, with a Bournemouth preview, but we will be back on Monday, then Monday mashup. We'll be back then probably either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when the Liverpool game is on. For Pro Wrestling Weekly, we'll do a review of the Rumble and all that good stuff and all. Suarez vibes, yeah, definitely Suarez vibes. You might get him if you go in with 60 million and a pound. See how it goes. And also we'll be back again next Thursday, all the usual, but it'll be an FA Cup preview that weekend, as always. Royal Rumble watch along. Not for me. Not for me. Only within our WhatsApp group and me half asleep on the pillow. Take care. See you next time. Absolutely. Have a safe one. Do our numbers count for both? They do for both Rumbles and the Loco Rumble OTT as well. I will make the show. Absolutely. It's on Thursday, Niall. We're playing on Thursday, are we? Against Spurs? Is it? Oh, okay. Interesting. Night, lads. Night. So until next time, folks, as always, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like in the video. We'll chat you again real soon. Cheers. Cheers, lads.
Peace and love, brother.